and welcome to the AAU TV Midweek News, and we are live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities in Accra, Ghana, and my name is Lydia Nyame. With me are
Jemima Daladam Dochi.
And my name is Ajiman Otredako.
Now the headlines on higher education. African universities urge to establish entrepreneurship hubs to stimulate innovation. And again, the African Center of Excellence in Data Science in Rwanda is set to develop the skilled data scientists.
And in our health news, European Commission approves contract with CureVac to ensure access to a potential vaccine. And also, frequent rapid testing could cripple COVID-19 in weeks, study shows.
And in our science and technology, Revo becomes the first hubless bicycle as it causes a stir in the industry after many years. I must say we're looking so great in our fabric, Kankesti GTP Textiles Ghana Limited. And you can also send your discussions or your comments to the news discussion on our social media platforms on Facebook and YouTube. Don't go anywhere, we'll bring you more news after this short break.
Welcome to GTP Health and Safety Corner. Charging up goes a long way. Strengthen your immune system. Your immune system needs all the help it can get. Eat well, stay hydrated. Hands pick up a lot. Avoid touching your face. Your well-being is in your hands. Sanitize regularly. Stay safe. GTP, timeless.
Welcome back from the break. And African universities have been urged to establish entrepreneurship hubs to avoid wasting student and staff research project innovations that could be developed into commercial products. Now, this type of technology transfer and technological research has to be developed. Speaking during the African Universities Week, Major Gonema, a professor of engineering at Ain Shams University in Cairo, Egypt, said research and innovations from African university students and academic staff are lost as the results are not patented or even tested beyond the prototype stages.
السلام عليكم. أنا دكتور ماجد غنيمة الدايركتور بتاع الانوفيشن هاب، ومن ضمن الحاجات اللي احنا بنسعد بيها قوي لما بنيجي نشوف واحد من ولادنا بيكبر بيتعلم جوه كليته جوه جامعته وبيطلع بعد كده هو يبدا يطبق الحاجات ديت ويبدا ان هو يبني الكارير بتاعه بيس على اللي اتعلمه. فانا اعرف ياسر هو يمكن خريج كليتنا والحمد لله عمل شركه ممتازه بتكبر يوم بعد يوم وسعداء جدا بنشوف منها. مش بس كده، كمان جوده المنتجات اللي احنا شفناها معاها شجعتنا ان احنا نشتري منه بعض الماكينات اللي هو بنستخدمها في المشاريع المختلفة اللي بنزق الطلبة بتوعنا عشان يشتغلوا على التصميم والتنفيذ والابتكار. فسعداء بالكواليتي بتاعة الأجهزة اللي احنا بناخدها من إعمار، وبنسعد أكتر بالبرودكتس والبروتوتايبس اللي الطلبة بتوعنا بيشتغلوا عليها وبيطلعوها سواء في مشاريع الخاصه بالكورسات بتاعتهم او في البرودكتس اللي هم مختلفه اللي بيقترحوها جوه البروبوز ستارت ابس بتاعتهم وذين المنظومه بتاعت اي هاب. واحنا في البروسيس بتاعت لما كنا عايزين ان احنا نعمل الانوفيشن لاب اللي احنا نقدر نشتري فيها الديفرنت 3 دي برينترز والسكانرز والسي ان سيز اللي موجوده عندنا عشان نقدر ان احنا نبروفايد السبورت اللازم علشان طلبتنا تقدر ان هي تبروتوتايب الانوفيشنز بتاعتها. جوه البروسيس دي نفسها كان طبعا في alternatives كتيره. البدايل دي كلها طبعا في منها بعض المنتجات الاجنبيه الكتير، بس بعد ما بصينا على الكواليتي بتاعت البرودكت اتسلف وشفناها ان اكشن وقارنا ما بين البدايل الثانيه الاجنبيه، لا كانت طبعا ان احسن بكتير جدا ان واحد بنشجع ستارت اب موجوده في مصر، اثنين ان كمان في بعض
That's an amazing news right there. But the question is, what difference will these entrepreneurship hubs make in unleashing student innovation?
Well, I must say that the inception of entrepreneurship hubs quite fascinating experience. I mean, you expose students to an amazing experience on campus with the networks and also that room for them to explore and unearth their talent and skills. You know, students are like, they have the talent, but they need that kind of environment, a platform, or these hubs to add value to them to be an extraordinary graduate. So we're looking at students having ideas to form their businesses, students having ideas to bring out products or make innovation. There is something that needs to help sustain these innovations and also make it profitable businesses. So I really endorse the fact that we should have entrepreneurial hubs on campuses so we could bring out the best in the students and also add value to their talents.
That's great.
I also buy into the entrepreneurship hub development because, first of all, when an individual is applying to go to school, they actually pick courses that they want, their professional courses. And at the end of their 4-year or 3 years, they also do a research into the course they have studied. And after the research, they just leave the research papers and everything down and go look for work. Whilst that research they have done can actually help to develop a business, an institution, a company on their own, to even help in reducing the unemployment rate that we have. So I would say that when students go through this research they do on campuses, it shouldn't just end there, because they are actually doing their profession. So by so doing, they learn, they can also build up businesses to help themselves and also help employ others.
That's true. You know, to add to what Jemima, you just said, I also think it's about time Africa wakes up. It's about time we stop investing all our our resources in research, because at the end of the day, every organization is looking at employing employable graduates, not just any kind of graduate. So for me, I think these entrepreneurship hubs would help stimulate the talents that these students already have in them. Even with people who don't have the talent at all, would time nurture those abilities. So I think this is really great.
You know, notwithstanding what you just said, Lydia, Africa needs research. It's very important. Actually, our quota to research is very low. I think it's 0.1% in the whole of Africa, which is very low compared to the ones that we see in North Korea and co. Quite huge amounts. But with these researchers can be harnessed so we could bring out results. Our issue is how we can materialize our research findings and implement. So we get the findings, but we don't find these changes in industry. So industry doesn't buy our findings to commercialize. So we now need ways and means to help commercialize our research findings. This is why these entrepreneurship hubs are created. So we can now see the next phase of pragmatism in terms of what we study by bringing together or bringing closer industry to these students. For example, having students interact or commune with industry leaders and players in their findings. So we've made the new way to, let's say, to combat COVID-19. It's a study that we've had on campus, and the students have been able to bring findings that can help us solve this mystery. Then we can say we bring industry close to you, so you can now take your findings to the next level. It's what we need in this environment. So I think that we need research, but we need other resources on how we can make it practical. So we can get students much more employed. And you know, I wanted to add a new point that the entrepreneurship hub is also an avenue to create employability. Making students employable doesn't mean that they having a degree and getting a job out there, but also having a degree and some skill that can make them useful to themselves. That's one key thing that the entrepreneurship hub seeks to solve. Bringing the networks or employer networks closer is one key thing, and also giving them that room to harness their skill and talent to be able to also create sustainable and profitable businesses is another thing that these hubs will do. So if every university has these hubs, then we can say that we can boldly conduct employee university graduate tracer studies and see that our students are not just employees but are creating businesses out there.
To add to what he's saying, students will develop the talent, they will develop every skill, but one major thing they would need to actually bring out this skill is financial support. So I think with the development of the entrepreneur hubs, they're also going to help in one way or the other to support financially to the small businesses or the small the students who are bringing up their small business.
Exactly.
That's great. Still on higher education, the African Center of Excellence in Data Science, ACDS, in Rwanda is set to develop the skilled data scientists needed to analyze and interpret data, and after a rigorous process to assess the design programs, available infrastructure and teaching capacity. Now, ACDS was internationally accredited by the Data Science Council of America, DASCA, the first on the African continent to get this recognition. The ACDS director, Dr. Charles Ruanga, says data science is a growing area that involves interdisciplinary collaborations between statistics, computer science, economics, mathematics, and engineering.
جوه البروسيس دي نفسها كان طبعا في alternatives كتيره البدايل دي كلها طبعا في منها بعض المنتجات
The African Center of Excellence in Data Science ACEDS is one of 24 Eastern and Southern Africa higher education centers of excellence. In the World Bank's ACE2 project, the main objective of ACE2 project is to strengthen selected Eastern and Southern Africa higher education institutions to deliver quality postgraduate education and build collaborative research capacity in the regional priority areas. Let's listen to the director of this center, ACEDS, explaining briefly about this project.
African Center of Excellence in Data Science is one of 24 African Centers of Excellence of the World Bank. So this is the project in the region for Eastern and Southern Africa, where we have 24 SCs from 8 countries.
The ACEDS is a regional center for which core mission is to train postgraduate students with combined expertise in statistics, economics, business, computer science, and engineering to use big data and data analytics to solve development challenges.
We need to have a very big African Center of Excellence in Data Science, where we have the one side, the training for qualified people. We are planning to have also what we call the incubation center, where we receive the academia, industry. They will come with different ideas together, they can work together. We have the innovative ways of working.
Which program offered by the African Center of Excellence in Data Science, ACEDS? Dr. Kabano, the head of training, explains.
We have 2 cohorts of PhD program by research who are conducting research in a number of areas related to data science and in development planning. We do have the second cohort of first cohort of master's students who are being trained to become real data scientists. We are providing a program which I would say is training data scientists who are very good, who are supposed to be very good in data mining. They are acquiring data mining techniques, and after then they will be applying these data mining techniques in a number of areas like economic.
Well, that's great news coming from Rwanda University. But do we think Africa need more of data scientists?
Very, very important. I think that even before we come to data scientists, we even have a lot of room for improvement when it comes to training and turning out professional people. For example, in the School of Agri Sciences, as of now, we have a huge estimate for agri scientists in Africa, but because we need 82,000 agri scientists in the industry, we also need 27,000 geologists in the industry. We need a lot of people to fill in that professional gap. But when it comes to data science, I would say, you know, the very first institution in Africa to get accredited to run a program like this is the University of Rwanda, which I believe...
don't you think that's problematic? Why is it the first?
I believe that there's always a first thing to happen and the room for us to have people to follow suit.
Okay.
This program, data science, is one career in the United States that's really ranked the third best because of what they do, breaking down huge data into useful pieces for it to be used to change the way industry works and bring optimality to operations. So I think there's one key thing we have to really applaud and also share in this development. So how can we have lots of universities in Africa also running this program? How can they also get the same accreditation from the United States of America? So this is very important. But I must say that it's about time that if we're really moving in the fourth industrial generation where Africa is rising with great human resources. There's a need for us to now have data scientists because we run more research. We need people to break down this data, interpret them, and have industry and these big institutions know how to implement this information to make optimal results. So it's very needful that we have lots of data scientists in the African continent so we can drive economic growth.
That's great.
I would also say data scientists are very important because we do data, we research, and we would need people to break down the data, interpret it, analyze it for us to be able to look at what and how we can help in solving problems. Because sometimes some of the problems that shoot up, we actually need to research, find data as to why this happened, as to what caused this, so that we can develop a way of solving it for that particular problem not to come or happen again. So
Ajuman, how many data scientists do you think we need?
Well, the university has an aim to churn out 250,000 data scientists at the end of the day, or when they're done with the operations. But I believe that we can do more. University of Rwanda can't do it all. If we all in Africa also decide to put in efforts, create a framework so we can also have this program accredited in other parts of the continent in terms of our institutions, then we can say we are trying to make up the bridge. We need lots of skilled professionals, believe me. There's more room for improvement when it comes to the data scientists because of what they have to do. They have a lot of work to do in terms of research, findings, interpretation, breaking these big data down into very useful information, because what we need is information to make the right technical and professional decisions at our companies or institutions to drive that sustainable growth. And it's about time we really produce much more. So I say that invest in Africa, please rise up, and then also make the data science as a program a priority in your institutions and get accredited. Let's run this and change the face of growth in Africa.
Okay.
Moving on to our health news, the European pharmaceutical company CureVac, which provides for the initial purchase of 225 million doses on behalf of all European Union member states, plus an option to request up to a further 180 million doses to be supplied once a vaccine has been proven to be safe and effective against COVID-19. President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, expresses much delight to announce a new agreement with a promising European company.
The coronavirus continues to spread rapidly across Europe. We need a safe and effective vaccine to end this pandemic. A few days after our contract with BioNTech and Pfizer, I'm happy to announce a new agreement. Tomorrow we will authorize a new contract to secure another COVID-19 vaccine for Europeans. This contract allows us to buy up to 405 million doses of a vaccine produced by the European company CureVac. Earlier this year, we have provided funding to CureVac together with the European Investment Bank. We did that to support the development of these vaccines, and now progress is tangible. If the vaccine has proven safe and effective against COVID-19, every member state will receive the vaccine at the same time, on a pro rata basis, and under the same conditions. This is the fifth contract with a pharmaceutical company for our COVID-19 vaccine portfolio. And we are working on a sixth one with Moderna. We have already concluded exploratory talks with Moderna. We hope to finalize the contract soon.
So this is what the European Union has done. But what do you think Africa, what lessons do you think Africa can derive from what the European Union have done or they are doing right now?
Okay, so I first of all want to congratulate the European Union for making such a bold step. And talking about lessons for Africa, I think Africa can equally toe their footsteps for this particular move. I think Africa could toe their footsteps. We should also try to make effort to get vaccine for our member states. I'm talking about our African Union. But I mean, because I believe the earlier you purchase these vaccines, the faster your chances of getting ahead of the virus. But I also want to add that our African leaders are not just idle, because just last month, I think 9th October, a meeting was held for AU leaders, especially their financial ministers, to ensure that the union would also be able to come up with ways and means of acquiring vaccines for the continent. And I mean, according to the meeting, the report that came out says an estimated $10 billion is required before the continent can purchase a vaccine that could cover 60% of our population. But the problem as it stands now is funding. Funding this virus, even for the 60%, is a problem. So our leaders, according to the reports that came out, says they are working towards finding ways and means of getting ahead of this situation.
Notwithstanding what Lydia said, the African Union COVID-19 Resource Fund was meant to resource all countries or member states in Africa to ensure that you strengthen yourself during the invasion of COVID-19, which has been a point of reference when it comes to funding at that point. I think that what the European Commission has done is just to make use of the pharmaceutical industries available, trusting them and then resourcing them to be able to make or to produce vaccines. What I want to say is, how well are we tasking or charging the pharmaceutical firms in Africa to be able to step up to this, to make a difference? For example, these biotech, these are companies, Moderna, companies which are pharmaceutical companies in Europe. What are we also doing to charge the Noguchis in Ghana and other medical research institutions in Africa to be able to step up the game and also bring out vaccines? Because I believe we could do so. So the African Union Commission, led by His Excellency Mahmoud, can also ensure that we empower or we charge pharmaceutical firms in Africa to also step up to what has been happening in Europe, to also bring out vaccines, or perhaps enter into contract with these firms to also bring out vaccines that we can also use as Africa. I wouldn't want to say that we shouldn't be too complacent in Africa to wait for aid or support of vaccines, where vaccines will be shipped in overseas for us to use, whilst we have institutions like what we are mentioned in Africa. It means that we are not charging ourselves that much to be able to make a difference for ourselves.
We are not charging ourselves that much, but do we have that enough time? Because people are dying.
No, it happens in Europe, in the States in Europe. People have died. We have recorded the less amount of deaths globally.
That's true.
And so we can't say we've lost so many people. I'm not saying that we haven't. The people we've lost don't really matter, but we've lost, and we need to charge ourselves up. This is the reason why this influenced these institutions or these firms in Europe to create these vaccines, and that's why these vaccines are undergoing trials, and hopefully will be ready if, according to the European Commission. If these vaccines are already tried and tested, then these contracts will be enforceable. The 300 million doses will be produced and shared. If we are waiting for these excesses to be dropped on our soils here, that means we're not charging ourselves enough. That's why I'm saying that there's a need for us to charge ourselves as institutions, as the African Union Commission, empower.
But don't you think, we are waiting to raise funds, don't you think it's going to, let me say, worsen the case? Because right now it's going to, that will be a long time before that money will be raised for even to cater for the 60% of the population. And how is
undoubtedly, the fact that we are in our second spike, in Ghana, let's say Ghana, for example, somewhere during September, the numbers dropped, and now we've seen a rise in October, November. Yes, I mean, these are going to happen. These were things that were mentioned by WHO. There will be a second spike. So we were aware. It's as if that we were just sleeping or looking somewhere else. our fight or our effort towards fighting COVID-19 in Africa perhaps fell. We underestimated the virus, and we need to fight the virus ahead of time.
Yeah.
I'm saying that we should charge all the medical institutions in Africa, the research medical institutions in Africa, to be able to create vaccines. You're talking about the funding. I said that we have an African Union COVID-19 Response Fund, which was created to support and strengthen all member states to combat COVID-19. So if you say we have no funds, there are funds.
No, but there are funds, but the funds are not being used because we need the funds to purchase the vaccine.
We now need to contact these rightful medical or pharmaceutical organizations to step up and break out vaccines, create some of their own. They are working in their laboratories. So we need to find out from them, what are they creating?
Ajuman, see, I perfectly understand you, okay, but I also have a problem with the parts where you keep saying our pharmaceutical agencies should be charged to come up with vaccines themselves. You know, I mean, we can't pretend this is Africa.
No, you see,
assuming a pharmaceutical agency in Africa comes up with a vaccine, do you think people will even embrace it in the first place?
Unfortunately for us, why do we trust us of Moderna and Co?
It's a mentality.
I'm looking beyond that, okay? I'm looking beyond what a mindset is. We don't do a mindset in the cafe right now. In this century, we do with facts and figures. We're beyond mindsets. If you think that there's no supremacy for the black person, that's your problem. We're looking at, we have what it takes to do so. So let's figure out how to do it. You know, even in plant medicine, in China, for example, China believes in plant medicine. China has so much trust in plant medicine and not the orthodox medicine. We are the custodians of plant medicine in Africa. What priority have we given to plant medicine or herbal medicine? That is what we have to be looking at. How is the African Union Commission also charging our herbal practitioners in Africa to ensure that we also have traditional modes of fighting COVID-19? Because we have some. We have several ways of fighting COVID-19 in Africa, traditional means. Have we taken or have we made a deliberate action to ensure that we unveil these herbal remedies and also resource these remedies to make them very strong vaccines? Let's think about this. So beyond the perception, we have a work to do to empower ourselves and bring out what we can also bring to the table and not wait for results coming from somewhere else. That makes us so lazy. I think so.
Moving on. Testing half the population weekly with inexpensive, rapid turnaround COVID-19 tests would drive the virus towards elimination within weeks, even if those are scientifically less sensitive than gold standard clinical tests, according to a new study published today by the University of Colorado Boulder and Harvard University researchers. How do you think the rapid testing could eliminate COVID-19?
You know, a lot of the COVID cases are asymptomatic, which means they don't show any signs and symptoms that they have the virus. So imagine someone who is asymptomatic but has the virus. That person is not protecting him or herself. Therefore, the person keeps transmitting the virus onto one person, the other, and it goes on and it goes on. So for me, I think with the rapid testing, when they start with the rapid testing, they'll be able to spot out all the asymptomatic people, because just because a person is asymptomatic doesn't mean they are not infectious. Everyone is infectious. So if, assuming in a week 2 different tests are conducted, just imagine they'll be able to spot out all those people from the many. You quarantine them, you treat them before they come back, which to some extent would reduce the number of infections. So I think it's good.
I mean, I share it in the double testing, thinking of ways and means to just eradicate COVID-19. But, you know, we have to understand the tragic news that COVID, in one way or the other, has perhaps come to stay, because its mode of transmission is quite hard to track. You know, the asymptomatic people, the younger generation, younger people have the virus at them, and they are the ones perhaps transmitting to the older people who are also, in terms of immune system, is able to, you find the symptoms of COVID-19 manifest in them. But, you know, beyond that, if we really want to see a rapid action towards curbing COVID-19, then we have to put in so much resources in test kits. There's a point, you know, during the first spike, some 6 months ago, when COVID came in radically destroying lives or taking lives away, we sort of having rapid tests. But how many tests could we put out there? We were looking only at people who were showing symptoms, and then we test you. but there was no effort to ensure that we have a rapid test action where we can use the rapid diagnostic test kit. We thought of producing, we had some companies in Ghana, medical laboratories, bringing out very affordable test kits, but unfortunately was not so affordable to get to reach the whole entire nation, have everyone tested. We believe perhaps that if we can have enough test kits out there and have everyone tested as much as possible, then we have to stay home. So perhaps going back to lockdown, having a personal, intentional, direct encounter with people and testing them at their homes, we could tell who has the virus, who is asymptomatic for 2 weeks, then we can say we are really dealing with the virus. But if we say we'll have everyone set out there and then we test you for 2 weeks, you're still transmitting. So if this will work, that means we have to have a deliberate effort, put everybody behind their rooms, perhaps lock them down, and then run this test on them continuously for 2 weeks, and then see if we could know who is infected, who's not infected, and then we quarantine the people who are infected. We can really get a proper headway in this case.
So we can really get a headway. Don't go anywhere as we bring you science and technology news after the short pause.
Welcome to GTP Health and Safety Corner. Charging up goes a long way. Strengthen your immune system. Your immune system needs all the help it can get. Eat well, stay hydrated. Hands pick up a lot. Avoid touching your face. Your well-being is in your hands. Sanitize regularly. Stay safe. GTP, timeless.
No, amazing things are happening in the tech industry, and I'm so glad to tell you that Revo becomes the first hubless bicycle as a cause stir in the industry after many years. Now, some manufacturers have already announced e-bikes with hubless wheels, and now for the first time you can order a bike with a strange construction. I mean, the US company Benno is now offering such a very futuristic two-wheeler under the name Revo.
It also rides and handles exceptionally well thanks to a strong lightweight core. Feel the need for speed? Simply rev the throttle and watch the world slow down. Revo's powerful electric drivetrain will get you around in no time. Or, if you prefer, use the incredibly clever pedal assist that adapts to road gradient and provides you with a gentle boost that feels so natural. Ever feel anxious about leaving your bike alone? We feel you. Simply use your fingerprint to lock the bike. A strong wheel lock deploys automatically, out of reach from bolt cutters. No more carrying bulky chains around. An intelligent motion detector activates when the bike is parked. It sounds an alarm and notifies you when someone tries to move your Revo. But we didn't stop there. An integrated GPS also anchors the bike to its parking spot and lets you track its location in real time. Your Revo is yours and yours alone. The interplay between light and shadow is a key pillar of our design philosophy. Our designers worked hard to make Revo a piece of art that looks as amazing at night as it does during the day. And we've also equipped Revo with the technology to get you around safely at night, with automatic LED headlamps, integrated brake lights and blinking turn signals. So, commute in style with Revo. The hubless e-bike that's wonderfully engineered to make every ride exceptional. It's time to upgrade your ride.
So that's an amazing insight right there with the e-bike. That's the Revo bicycle, and also you saw with the bamboo bicycles.
Exactly.
Now, I just want to ask, what lessons are we picking as African industries, African companies, when it comes to the bicycle industry, in terms of the innovation we're seeing? For example, what the Revo, Benno has done with Revo. We also have boomers in Ghana into bamboo bicycles. But what efforts can we put in to reach up the world we're living in and how things are changing?
Okay. Currently, we see our development going up, and we are delving into technological development. So I think Africa can create something, produce something. Looking at what Revo has done, they've done marvelously well, and I think Africa can do, even if not same, but they can do something innovative. Bamboo bicycles are not bad. They are actually good. We are using our own natural resources to actually produce a bicycle, and that is not a bad initiative at all. But looking at how our world is turning, we are entering into the technological world, and Africa should also, tone into the technological lane by producing something closer to Revo, if not the same.
So just taking lessons from Revo.
I actually think Africa is not far from coming up with something like this, because we have the human resources. Sometimes it's the funding. I mean, nothing is too huge for Africa to come up with. We can also come up with a hubless bicycle. We can come up with an electronic bicycle. We can equally have a bicycle that picks fingerprints and perhaps someday facial. Exactly. So I think Africa is not far from doing that. But for now, maybe organizations should those who started the bamboo bicycle, exactly, organizations should target them. You fund them, because without money they won't be able to. You may have the idea. So I think with funding and support, Africans can also do it.
Yeah, no, great contributions from you. I think that the world we live in is getting so smarter day by day, with smartphones, smart TVs, smart homes. Everything we do is quite smarter. So even in our transportation, we should have smarter ways of doing it.
That's true.
We find this quite so unique that perhaps we can reduce our carbon emissions and also consider climate change. There's a climate change impactful product where if we all embrace and perhaps contribute resources to, we could make a big difference in it.
That's true.
That's amazing.
Now, in wrapping up the news, let us take a quick recap of our headlines. African universities urge to establish entrepreneurship hubs to stimulate innovation. The African Center of Excellence in Data Science in Rwanda is set to develop the skilled data scientists.
And in our health news, European Commission approves contracts with CureVac to ensure access to a potential vaccine. In addition, frequent rapid testing could cripple COVID-19 within weeks, study shows.
And in our science and technology news, we showed you the hubless bicycle, the first bicycle to be hubless and also electronic by Revo, by the company called Beno in the United States of America. I want to say that we're looking so great. Kind courtesy of GTP Test House Ghana, and enjoy more of the programs on AAU TV. We'll bring you more news next time.